Absolutely Not is normalizing the standard, period. If you bring the whole table, then you can sit with us. We're bringing all the uncomfy combos and creating an unapologetic space to drive the culture forward respectfully. Cause it seems like everyone wants to keep their opinions in the comment section. Absolutely not. What is up, world? It's your girl, Alora, and we're back with your favorite podcast, Absolutely Not, hosted by yours truly, a girl with unpopular opinions. Be sure to tune in every week for new episodes featuring some of the hottest topics. On today's episode, we have Miss Amber Martinez, the CEO of an arena football team, which has now been turned into a women's football league.
That is correct.
I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I know that we've been in conversation for the last few months in regards to many different things. Right. We have our own little thing going on, but I'm just so glad that we had the time to sit down and chat.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So I guess we'll hop right in.
Okay.
I know that you are the owner of a football team.
That is correct.
Which is kind of like strange for a woman. So was this always something that you saw yourself doing, like growing up? Were you like, I want to own a football team?
No, I actually wanted to be a veterinarian.
That's quite the pivot.
I wanted to be a veterinarian, but becoming an owner to the team, it was a six-figure bad investment.
6 figures?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes.
And what specific event kind of catapulted this?
I invested into a vision, into a dream. I believed what the gentleman was selling to me.
We've all been there before.
And unfortunately, things did not work out the way that it was supposed to. Those 6 figures ended up being spent on me.
Wow.
In less than 6 months.
What do you mean by on you?
Long story short, he and I eventually became engaged, and our whole relationship was my dime.
Oh, wow.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you say bad investment, I'm pretty sure that's something that we can all relate to as women. Like, that's kind of the story that we all share.
Absolutely.
And investment doesn't always have to be money,
No.
Especially when it comes to a man. Like, we've all invested time, emotions, and I feel like that's the typical story that you hear from a woman.
Absolutely.
So how have you bounced back from that?
Well, I took a tragic situation and I decided to move forward, and I was not going to let him win. So I then ended up owning the LLC to the team. And from that moment, I just started pushing forward. I went from arena football, decided to do girls flag football because I want to bring something back to my women.
Absolutely.
So I'm also co-owner to a girls flag football league, which is a Desert Girls Flag Football League. And I'm working on that as well.
Interesting. So what got you interested in women's flag football? I actually have a friend that competes in a women's football league, which is super cool, but also something that you don't really see many women doing.
Right.
So what piqued your interest with that?
What really got me is when I saw the Olympics. When they did the flag football, USA, Mexico, I was impressed. I was just like, this is awesome. I was like, I definitely want to be a part of this. It was just motivation for me to make sure that this comes to pass.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really do. And what would you say your intention was behind starting this team?
Giving women a voice, giving them power to be able to start with young girls at an early age and just follow them through their journey, being a mentor, being able to give them a ground, because as a youth, as a girl, as an adolescent, there's a lot that comes with being a female. So being able to have the right mentorship and having the right people around, it makes a difference.
I totally agree with you. And I feel like a women's flag football team is a great start to that particular journey. You're going to help so many people with that.
Absolutely. That's the plan.
And I just know that in the world that we live in, we've kind of entered an age where there's a lot of women who are taking up space in male-dominated industries, whether that be engineering, whether that be tech, whether it be sales. Women across the board are doing really well in business. Right. Even the Kardashians have helped with setting the tone with that.
Right.
They've taught us that you can be sexy, smart, and a girl boss.
That's correct.
These are all things that we found to help challenge the status quo.
Right.
So as the only female owner of this football team, what has that looked like for you?
It has definitely been challenging. There has been a lot of men that have been a part of my life, that have come into my life, that ended up being just like the ex-fiance in every way, shape, or form. Excuse me. We have since then moved away from all of those individuals. We know what it is to get burned. We know what it is when people try to use you in different ways, and abuse comes in many forms.
Yeah.
The blessing out of it is that my now current business partner, Shabazz, he has been the rock. He has been the motivation. He's been the support system. So it shows me that not all men are bad.
I was about to say, I love to hear that.
Yeah.
A lot of times with men, we only hear the bad of situations. It's hard to really find those gems.
Absolutely.
It's literally like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Yes.
So now that you have pivoted from the men's football league to women's football league, how have you found like a support system with that?
There's a lot of people that are very interested in the women and girls flag football teams. We just continue to just bring awareness. We're out there looking right now for coaches. We're looking for teams. We're trying to get the process going. We're also setting up the websites just so that we can have a place where, people can come and register and putting themselves out there as well. Trying to bring back to the community. It's not just football, but we bring events as well.
Absolutely. I love that. And giving back to the community is so important.
Absolutely.
Especially with the realm that you're in. So I kind of want to hop back into what it's been like to be a woman in this male-dominated space. Do you find that, like, when you're scouting out coaches, when you're looking for trainers and things like that, especially when going to competition, do you find that it's hard for people to take you seriously?
Absolutely. It's they look at you in a sexual form. You don't have sense because you're a woman, you're beautiful, you don't know what you're talking about. As a woman owner, as a female owner, it's very important that you show your dominance there, that you're strong. You don't let anybody push you around. You don't let them tell you what to do. You speak your mind and you say what you mean what you say.
Period.
I
love that.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, like, in male-dominated spaces, I found that it's very important to exude confidence, not just in how you look, but by the way that you engage with others, but especially in your decision-making.
Absolutely.
Because if they see that you second-guess yourself, they already ate you up.
Absolutely.
And then it's also important to really own the space that you're in, and stop being so nice, like, especially when it comes to men, because you give a man an inch, he's gonna take a mile.
And that's why I said always be politely disrespectful.
Yes, I love that. Absolutely. And that's a great way to advocate for yourself.
Yes, always. Yeah. I'm known for that. I'm definitely known for that.
I love that. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge is believing in myself, finding the strength, the courage to move forward. Is this worth it? Can I really do it? Am I going to make it? But when you have the right support system, everything falls into place. No matter what comes at you, it's like, I got this. I can do this. This is going to happen.
It's interesting that you say that, because it seems like this whole entire empire that you're sitting on has been built from a place of pain.
Absolutely.
Which, similarly to like my career in music, it was kind of built up with the same foundation. And I've learned that some of the most beautiful projects, some of the most beautiful things stem from a painful situation or from a flame that kind of ignites something in you.
Absolutely.
And as much as I hate pain, I always look forward to the end result, because it's always something that I never ever envisioned or saw for myself.
Absolutely. And that's where I'm at.
I love that.
Yes.
So what would you say is your first initiative with this football team?
Just to put Vegas on the map. It's time to get Vegas on the map. I want my girls to feel that they have a place where they can be themselves and they can hustle just as hard as a man and be able to just put their first foot forward, their best foot forward, to be the best. There's a lot of people watching. There's a lot of young girls that are watching. There needs to be some mentors out there, some positivity. We don't have enough of it.
I totally agree with you. As women, we spend a lot of time, which I think has actually kind of changed now that more of us like have embraced femininity.
Right.
We're not really pitted against each other that much anymore. Like now we come from a place of support, but if we could just further where we are, I feel like we would be miles ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to get the girls, be involved in the community, go to meets, go to the schools, be able to interact with the students, I think that it's very important to be able to have that connection there. They can be the mentors, they can be the support system for them while they're growing up. I think that it's a beautiful thing, and being able to have teams all around the U.S. and even out of the country, something that I would love to be able to see, that I believe is going to happen.
I definitely see that for you.
Absolutely.
And I know that you mentioned something about the Olympics. Are you thinking about...
Look, motivation right there. I would love to see one of my teams to be a part of that. That would be beautiful.
And how many teams are you planning to have?
I own currently 2. Fuego is one of them. The second one, we're working on that, revamping it right now.
Okay, so I know that the original team had the name King in it.
Correct.
And now that you've pivoted from being an arena football league to a women's football league, are you thinking about changing the name?
Absolutely.
What would you call it?
The Women Kings.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
And why?
One of the things for me when I watched the movie, just the backstory of the characters in general, I saw myself. The women that I'm surrounded by, the women that I see who I'm emotional.
It's okay, girl.
The women who I see and I'm a part of, like yourself. It's important. It's very important to just show that strength.
Yes.
And no matter what we go through, what happens and what we've been through, you're always going to make it. You got to fight through it. The scars, they're going to be there.
Yes.
But it's part of who you are. It creates your personality for your destiny.
Yeah.
Your
Stars
success
tell a
story.
story.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a story behind every single one, every tear, every emotion, every pain. It's all worth it. It's been worth it.
I absolutely agree.
It's time to give women a voice.
Absolutely.
Because I know what it is to not have one.
And thank you so much for starting this. I would be a part of this, but unfortunately I'm not that athletic. But but I want to thank you, because my entire mission behind Absolutely Not is to give women a voice, to challenge the status quo, and to see a woman like you that's doing this in a very unconventional way is inspirational.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being the driving force of this and continuing to drive the culture forward.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
So what would you say, I guess, after starting the Women's Football League, would you start a little league, like for young kids?
Well, that's what the Desert Girls Flag Football is. So that is from the ages of 9 to 16. And that's what we're doing right now. We are contacting the schools. We start with them young, and we walk with them through the process to eventually they will be a part of our professional women's team.
I don't even think you understand like what you've done for feminism. There was a show that I used to watch as a kid, Degrassi.
I used to watch that.
And there was a girl named Jane who wanted to join the men's football team or the boys football team at Degrassi High, and she was denied the acceptance. And she tried out. She worked just as hard as the boys. She even like got a touchdown, or I don't know football, but she did something and it was great. And she didn't end up making the team, but some guy who wasn't that athletic ended up getting her position. And I remember like watching them go to the PTA and hold a protest for her to join this team. I thought it was crazy because like, why would you want to be a girl and play football? But at the same time, she was talented, she had grit, and she was also like, she drove the culture forward with that, because after that I saw football and women in a completely different space, and she like really owned the football field. I mean, it was just a TV show, but it brought clarity to me and helped me see things in a different light. And I think that that's what you're going to be doing with your football league.
Absolutely. That's part of the plan.
Well, I know that you have football leagues that range from different age groups. You have your little league team, and then you have your adult team. So when it comes to that, what would you say is the biggest advice you'd give to a child?
Giving advice to a child is being able to, you got to believe in yourself and in your dreams. You can accomplish anything that you put your mind to. Whether you have the support, family members, friends, whatever that looks like, you can still accomplish anything that you put your mind and your heart to, no matter what. I didn't grow up with the best support system, but here I am today. So I believe in junior high, high school. It helps keep you busy. You know what I mean?
I agree. And I know early on in the show, you said something about having a wonderful support system
Yes.
and how it's led to you being successful. But I also think that when something is meant for you, you don't need all the bells and whistles that it comes with, because at the end of the day, like, if God said that this is for you, he's going to make it happen.
And he's been making it
In
happen.
the most miraculous way.
Absolutely. He has definitely done that. So it doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your story. When it's for you, it's yours.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So as an adult who could possibly be out of shape, what would you say? What would be your best piece of advice for them?
Definitely watch what you eat. Stay active. Definitely stay active. Focus on your studies. You know what I mean? Be respectful, be polite. There's no need for the disrespect. There's no reason, to be bullying or whatever that looks like. Think about other people's feelings. Somebody might be going through something that you're not going through. Mm-hmm. Or there could be a situation, you could be the kind word or be the word that turns everything around upside down for a person.
When you say that, I have been like in this weird place where recently, like, I've been getting a lot of compliments from strangers. And every time that it happens, I don't know why, but like the compliments from strangers resonate a little bit more than compliments I get from people that I know. So now I've made it like my personal initiative to compliment a stranger anytime I go somewhere, because I know how it impacts me.
Right.
And like I want to impact someone else in the same way.
And that's what it is. Whatever you want to receive, you need to make sure that you're putting out. Mm-hmm. That's one of my biggest things. I became everything that I never had.
Wow. I love that. And that's a word in itself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was married for 20 years, was with my ex-husband 25. I have 4 adult grown children. I have 2 grandbabies. My life and journey was not easy. Mm-hmm. I was a young mom, got pregnant at 15 and a half, married at 18, had 4 kids by the time I was 22.
Wow.
So my
you were
whole
a baby.
I was. When I see it now, I'm like, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? But I have no regrets. Mm-hmm. I love where I'm at today. I love my children. I love my grandbabies. I take care of my mom. I do everything that I'm supposed to do, regardless of what I've been through, regardless of what has happened. None of those things have changed who I am. They just made me better.
I don't think that you understand the amount of impact that you're about to have on this next generation of women. Like, there are so many people who have the same background and the same story as you that are going to be able to look to you as an idol or as a role model. So growing up, who would you say was your role model?
My grandfather.
Really?
Yes. My grandfather.
Interesting.
Yes.
And what type of knowledge or skills did he instill in you growing up?
Respect, first and foremost. You respect your elders. Always told us to be motivated, and we can do anything. It was one of the biggest things, seeing him with my grandmother, how they loved each other, how they were with one another. The respect factors, everybody knew my grandfather. They knew Mr. Fernandez. Those are Mr. Fernandez's granddaughters. They knew Grandpa. That was the only male that I had in my family that was in my life growing up. So he was it.
Wow.
So I hold on to those things that he talked to me about when I was growing up. And that's what keeps me motivated and keeps me moving forward. I always have Grandpa in the back of my mind.
So would you say that your relationship with him has helped you kind of have a positive outlook when it comes to your relationships with other men?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because my relationships with other men have not been easy.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot of trauma at a very young age. Mm-hmm. Up into my adult adolescence, I've gone through a lot in my life. Mm-hmm. But where I'm at, I always remember what Grandpa tells me. So
I love that. And people that have those kinds of stories end up becoming some of the most successful people in the world and most impactful. Right. Sometimes I feel like having a story kind of gives you a leg up when it comes to being in the real world, because you have real life experiences that you can use to help you in the future. Absolutely.
And just my experiences to be able to help others. I am that ear. I'm the phone call in the middle of the night. You need to talk. I'll answer the phone. You need a ride. Something's going on. I will come. My children know that. Their friends know that. I'm a mom of 36 kids that are not mine. You know what I mean? And I've always just been that mom. So like I said, I've tried to become everything that I never had. Mm-hmm. So I have become that person, and I'm going to continue to be that, because I know what it is to be alone. I know what it is to be depressed. I know what it is to be sad. I know what it is to deal with abuse and rapes and all kinds of other things, including molestation. I've been through a lot. But that I am who I am because of those things.
Absolutely. And like we said earlier, your scars kind of tell your story. I feel like scars are the most beautiful tattoos.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. So is there anything else that we haven't touched on?
What haven't we touched on? Well, we do have our nonprofit, Spoil.
Yes. Okay, so let's pivot into that. So I know that you started Spoil at the beginning of this year. I think you called on my birthday.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you guys do not know, I am actually on the board of trustees at a nonprofit called Spoil.
That's correct.
And this was also started by Miss Amber Martinez. Could you tell them because I know that your initiative for a lot of businesses that you have are based on women. So for this one in particular, what's the story behind it?
The story behind it, actually, my business partner, Shabazz, we've done a lot of talking. Like I said, he's been on this journey with me. So he's seen the ugly cry. He's, been through a lot of that stuff. And just seeing the way that he explains to me, he's always seen me doing above and beyond for everybody. Going out of my way, taking care of everybody, but always I forgot about myself.
Yeah.
Not taking care of me. I'm not spoiling myself. I'm not making sure that I'm at peace and that I'm okay, because I'm always worried about everybody else. So part of Spoil, it teaches families, individuals, and communities, people that spoil others, how to spoil and take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
So we're enlightening individuals on how to do that.
And you know what you said about having to always take care of others and never take care of yourself. That is an ideology that's deeply rooted in patriarchy, because since the beginning of time, like since you're a child, we are always taught to cater to men, to make sure that everyone else is good, but nobody ever teaches you how to take care of yourself. And the older that you get, the more years that you spend here, you spend time pouring into everybody else, and your cup is still empty.
Absolutely. You feel empty, you feel abandoned, you feel alone, even though you're surrounded by people that you love and care about. You're always by yourself. And you always feel by yourself because nobody's there for you to be what you need. Like I said, I try to be everything that I've never had for that reason, because I know what it is to feel all of those things that people feel. I have a lot of different hats. I've been in a lot of situations, so I can relate to a lot of people in many, many areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited to be a part of Spoil, and I can't wait until we actually get the website up and running so that we can share it. But definitely, it's been an honor to actually be asked by you to join the team.
I'm excited that you're a part of it. I was just waiting for the day to ask you.
And, I was in Italy. And she called me, and I'm like in a restaurant, and I'm like, hello, it's super loud. And she's like, hey, can we talk? I'm like, yeah. Then my phone hangs up because I have Verizon. And so I'm just like, oh God. So I get back to the hotel. It's like 1 a.m. in Italy, probably like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So around 7 o'clock in the U.S. And so I finally called her back, and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking she's calling to tell me happy birthday. And she's like, hey, I wanted to know if you wanted to be on the board of trustees. And I'm like, yeah, like that's the nicest thing anyone has ever asked of me. So with that being said, I am honored, and I look forward to helping change the world with you.
Absolutely. This is a beautiful journey, and I'm excited that you're a part of it with me.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, and we look forward to another interview.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Plenty more to talk about.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. The story of Amber Martinez, and we are not done. So be sure to tune in to next week's episode, and we will see you soon. Bye.